Moving anywhere and become successful. Moving is hard. Moving is a tough thing. Rebuilding, reestablishing roots, starting over is tough. And so this video is to really help you with moving and how to be successful within moving. And we're going to hit 5 points. Success looks different to everyone. And so take that into account. But this is just from my opinion and my perspective, because I've moved a lot in my life. I've moved away to college. I've moved away for work many times. I've lived in 4 different cities now. And so actually more than that. But ultimately, living in the Midwest, living in the West Coast now, living in the West Coast in Seattle, I've moved a lot and I've had to rebuild and I've had to reconnect and I've had to understand the city that I was moving to. And so these are ways to be successful in the cities that you decide that you want to move into. First, I think you need to know what your value is. So when you know what your value is, you know ahead of time what it is that you maybe have been successful in. And so maybe you have a craft. For me, it's photography. And so I know that I've been successful in photography in many different cities, and I've been able to use that as like my vehicle to meet people, to find work. And I know for me, that's a big part of what my value has been. And so for you, it's really identifying what is this something that I have value in that maybe in the past I've given it and it's helped people. I've been told by other people that, hey, this is something that you're good at. Whatever that value is, you have to know it. And if you don't have something that you think is value, I think we all have some form of value. It's important for you to sit down and to try and understand what that value is. I think skill development is a big part of it too. You've got to develop some form of skills, whether it's how to talk to people, how to ask good questions, how to maneuver through a city that you just have moved to. Different things require different skills. And when you develop your skills through time and through just giving things a shot, it will increase your value. Another thing is community building. Whenever you move anywhere, whenever you live anywhere, community is going to be your best play to focus on, because that's how you really get to understand what a city is about. That's how you really get to understand the people who are a part of these city systems that are making change and that are making moves and that are connecting different dots. And so it's going to be important for you, if you move anywhere, to know how to build community and know the value of building a community. And there's also things I think are important, is also habit developing and developing habits that will put you on the right trajectory to be successful and put you in the right places to find opportunities that you're looking for. And if you don't really have good habits, I'm not saying you won't be successful moving anywhere. But if you do have like habits and a routine that is putting you in the right place, whether it's waking up early, whether it's, being very minimal with the amount of substances you use, or just being focused in different areas, I think that that will help you along your journey of trying to move somewhere and be successful. I think the second point is to really understand the territory you're moving to. The second point to me is to really understand the territory you're moving to. So if you're moving from the Midwest to the West Coast, or the Midwest to the East Coast, you've got to understand how different those parts of the country are. And I'm only speaking from the US because that's where I was born and raised. And so I'm speaking on it from that standpoint, being in North America. So you should know where it is you're moving, the mindsets that you are going to have to recognize people have that are different than the Midwest, the type of activities maybe that are different. And you'll find similarities, of course, but you also see that in different regions in this country, people are and they do different things different ways. And so that's another important part of knowing the territory, and you've got to do your research. And so that research could be online. You've got Google, obviously. You can research anything there when it comes to moving to a certain city that you like to move to. If you have connections of people who live in that city already, give them a call, ask them questions. There's many different ways to get information about a specific territory, a specific place that you're moving. So you got to do your research. I also recommend visiting. If you can visit a place before you decide to move there, that gives you a really ground level sense and a feel of how this place actually is day to day in certain neighborhoods and certain parts of the city. Because even in a city, there's differences between the parts of a city that you're in. Like, for example, I'm in Seattle, and I'm in like the Queen Anne area of Seattle, but Queen Anne is different than like Capitol Hill. And if you're living in Bellevue on the east side, it's different. Or if you're living up north in like Everett and Shoreline, that's different. Or going south to Renton, or even further down to Tacoma. These are all different areas, and things are a bit unique compared to each location. So even knowing that you're going to move to a specific city, you've got to know the differences within the city as well. And another thing that's important about knowing the territory is really knowing the industries in that territory, because you're more than likely going to move somewhere. You're going to be looking for a job. You're going to be looking for opportunity. You're going to be looking for some way to make money. And if you know the prominent industries, if you know that tech is a big industry, if you know that maybe agriculture is a big industry, or if you know that retail is a big industry, that will give you an idea of where to maybe focus your energy when you're looking for jobs and when you're looking for opportunity. Because whatever the biggest industries are in a specific territory or a specific city, that's where probably most of the opportunities are. So those are things that you should look into when you're considering moving to a certain territory, is really knowing your industry. I think the next thing is being open to what the city has to offer. And so some people may go into the mindset of, if I'm going to move to this city, I'm just going to do exactly what I did in the city I moved from. And if you want to really find success in a city, you have to understand how that city moves, how that city operates. And so if you attend events and you just go to an event and you just look around and you see how people are dressed, or you look around and you see the music that's being played and how people respond to it, you will get a sense of the vibe and like the culture of what this city is. And you'll start to adapt those things, because at the end of the day, we all want to feel a part of a community, and we all want to connect with the community. And whenever you go to a new city, each city kind of has its own vibe in the sense of certain customs and things that culturally people are used to. Like here in Seattle, Seattle brings a heavy international draw. And so there's a heavy Asian influence here. There's a lot of Indian culture here. There's African culture here. There's obviously white culture here as well. And there's a big sports culture here. And so me coming here to Seattle, and I understand that, hey, there's a lot of people who love soccer here. If I go to a soccer game, or if I start attending soccer events and I start to become part of that community, that could be an easy way for me to find success in whatever I look at as being successful, whether it's trying to find work, or if it's trying to find friendships, or if it's just trying to find community, or trying to meet a partner, whatever your goal may be, looking at it from that lens. I also say I recommend trying new things. So if you move to a city that has a lot of mountains, like I lived in Arizona before, and I noticed that the culture in Arizona is heavy mountain culture, outdoor culture. Even here in Seattle, it's that way. But in Arizona, that's that culture. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to hike because people like to hike. And I'm going to put myself in that culture. And, you know, if you've never done it, it's always good to try something new, especially if that is a big part of the culture of that city, of that environment. if that is a big culture of that city or of that environment. Um, and then the next thing you want, I would say another thing that you want to do is you just want to try. Not, I'm sorry, let me cut that. And I would also say another thing you can do is just ask around. Like when you're in the airport or if you're doing public transportation, like ask people about the city. Like, hey, are you from Seattle? What do you think about Seattle? Like, how's your experience been living in Seattle? If you're from here, if you just moved here, and if you ask enough questions, you get enough insight from people. You'll start to get a feel of what the vibe of the city is, and you'll start to see when things may be going on, like things may be busier and things may not be as busy, or where to go to meet people versus where not to go to try and meet people. You'll get all of that feel when you just ask people who are in front of you what they think about it. And trust me, if you take a day and you ask 10 different people about the city that they live in, you're going to get more than enough insight and information about how the city kind of breathes and feels. So that's the third point of just being open to what the place has to offer. I think number four is very important, and you've got to define what success is for you. And so some people's version of success moving to a new city would be maybe I want to move to this new city and I want to start a new relationship and I want to build new friendships. And so their version of success is going down that, focusing strictly on that path, not completely, but focusing heavily on that path. Maybe another person's version of success is I want to go here and I want to get a huge job opportunity that is going to take my career to the next step. And so they focus there. Maybe another person's vision of success is, hey, I want to buy a home here and I want to build a foundation here and build equity within having a home. And so they focus there. So I think it's important for you to define what your success is. Career wise, it could be working a job. It could be working for a corporation. It could be you knowing what your skills are, so you become an independent contractor, or you can want to start a business. Like whatever you decide to define what success is for you, it's important to recognize that and then just attack that, because success looks different to every single person. And the last thing I would say is number five is to just take your time. Moving, living in a new city, getting used to the customs, it's a lot. It's a lot for a person. It's a lot for us human beings to take in. And if you've never done it before and this is the first ride, it's important to really take your time to really ask yourself, hey, are these the people I want to be spending time with if I'm meeting new friends? Are these the activities that I really want to be doing? Be open, but also it's important to establish what your set is as far as whatever your boundaries may be. So like take your time, really move at your pace. Also don't compare your journey to other people, because that is a quick fire way for your happiness to be compromised and your happiness to be not of your own, because you're trying to compare how other people are moving, when really the only thing that matters is the steps that you take on your journey and how you move to build the life that you want to build. And so that's important, is to find the things that you have joy in. And these things of joy will just build you, will build your character, and will just build your personal confidence and self-confidence. And I think, taking these 5 steps, taking these 5 things when you're thinking about moving to a new city, moving to a new territory, whether it's small, big, whatever the circumstance is, if you're moving by yourself, if you're moving with a family, I think these things, if you apply them, could really help you on your journey of just being successful, finding success in this new territory. So if this was helpful, please Give me a like, comment. Just give me your thoughts on what you think it means to be successful when moving to another city, and any tips or kind of ideas or tricks that you would take in when you decide to move, or if you have moved to another city. Until next time, peace.